Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Outs here. It's Friday, and I'm freaking out because they released the full press conference of Michael Bartlett and Rowan Barrett Sr. from Wednesday, yesterday. And we finally got to watch the almost 40-minute press conference, and it was really good. Like, honestly, I'm really proud of these two gentlemen and how they're running the Team Canada program. They did a really good job in that press conference of outlining the goals and what they've done and accomplished already since they've been in charge of this program over pretty much the last 5 years or so. It's true. Rowan Barrett Sr. is in charge of the most successful time in Team Canada men's basketball history, and that was last summer getting bronze at FIBA World Cup. That's the best Canada's ever done in international competition in men's basketball level. And they're going on the way up. I love how they outlined everything. First, Michael Bartlett came in and he said basically these are the four things we've been working on: purpose and this and this and this. And the purpose, in some ways, is to build the program up. And he said a lot of important things about equality. He said that, a lot of the resources that we're putting into Team Canada stuff is for not just the men. We are trying to put equal resources into the women. We're putting our money where our mouth is, and we want to make sure that the women are getting supported just as well as the men's teams. And he also talked a lot about the goals of this program, that in some ways they need funding. It's very much true. The stories we've talked about recently where Team Canada is lacking funding going into the future. So what he's saying is they have to be very, very successful at the Olympics so that they get huge sponsors. That's right. They want big corporate sponsors that will pay for Team Canada stuff going forward because the brand is on the rise. People are going to get more interested, and that will get great advertising for these companies. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Michael Bartlett did a really good job outlining some of the objectives and their mottos and things that are important to them, and very much showing how it has happened. Global Jam was mentioned, and he talked about how Global Jam is something they really enjoy doing, but they just don't have the manpower resources to put a Global Jam on this summer with everything going on around the Olympics. So, yeah, fantastic stuff from them. Rowan Barrett Sr. is amazing. In some ways, some of the things he said yesterday, or Wednesday, sorry, were just absolutely eye-opening to me. In fact, my title for the stream, people will be like, well, what is Lex saying? Well, I'm reading through between the lines. People may not see this. Lewinberg, Grange, Oren Weisfeld, Samson Folk, they may not see what I'm about to say. And this is this. All right, Rowan Barrett Sr. has Rowan Barrett Jr. playing on this team, and it's his son. And his son is very important to him, obviously. He's somebody he's mentored, somebody he's taught, somebody that has been in his life, his whole life has been his dad, right? So at the end of the season, RJ Barrett said that this summer, there's something really, really important he's got to do this summer. And he knew what it was like already. And this is the thing. His dad has given him a challenge. Yeah, he said to him on the down low, this is not public or anything, I want you to become a better defensive player. Yeah, because basically Rowan Barrett Sr. outlined this whole picture of how we did at FIBA last summer. He said bronze was great. Bronze is fantastic. It's the best Canada's ever done, but we're not happy. We want gold. And this is how cutthroat and competitive this guy is. He's not just happy to medal. He wants us to win it all. He wants us to be at the top of the podium with the gold medal. And he thinks that Canada did fantastic last year, but he thinks they could do way better. And when he looked at how we did last year at FIBA World Cup in Asia, he said, well, we need to shore up one side of the ball. In one ways, he thinks that our offense is absolutely fine. He says that the Team Canada team has no problem scoring. SGA, I mean, heck, we got Jamal Murray coming in now. Are they going to have a problem scoring? Probably not. Probably not. He says the problem is on the defensive side. That if Canada had problems at FIBA World Cup, the reason why they didn't get to the top of the podium and got that gold is because their defense needs shoring up. They need to retool the roster to have a better defensive roster. And also the guys who are playing on the core that were already there need to get better defensively themselves. Guys like Lou Dort, Dylan Brooks, those guys are really good at defense already. But there's guys like RJ that need to get better themselves. So there's a personal challenge in some ways on the down low from a father to a son to say, you need to get better at defense. Well, this is what I'm going to say. RJ said this at the end of the season. He said, I'm going to try and come back next season for the Raptors as a two-way player. That's right. The only thing RJ is worried about this summer ain't trying to go to the basket and bully his way and put those lay-ins, flipping it up over an outstretched defender's arm. No, he can already do that. It's not about practicing his threes or doing that stuff. Sure, he's going to get time taking his shots, but he is working on his defensive stuff. That's what I'm saying. And it's great because it fits like a glove with what the Raptors' objectives and goals are for him, along with the Team Canada goals for this summer. So when Rowan Barrett Sr. was talking on Wednesday about Team Canada has to get better defensively, in some ways he's speaking directly to his son. He's saying, look, son, you could get better defensively. We all know that. That was a knock that the Knicks fans had on you for years, is that you were a liability on defense. Well, that's bullshit. We don't want that no more. In some ways, the Knicks needed to lean on him for offense so much on such a weird team that in some ways he had no energy to do it. Well, a little bit more balanced offense around him with Jamal Murray, SGA, and other people on the Raptors like that too. He could start broadening his horizons on the defensive side of the ball. Don't underestimate the smartness and the will of RJ Barrett. There's something that's going to happen this summer where he's going to come back and he's going to be a way better defensive player all of a sudden. And everybody's going to be like, whoa, wait a second. RJ's playing defense this year. What? RJ's playing defense. And it's because it's Darko's plans. It's in Jordy Fernandez's plans. It's in Rowan Barrett Sr.'s plans to get RJ better on the defensive end. And he's all about it. He's taking that challenge and he's running with it. I'm sure that's what he's working on like crazy in silence, in privacy this summer. So, yeah, that's the challenge I'm talking about right there. That in some ways, when Rowan Barrett Sr. was talking about my team needs to get better defensively if we're going to win gold at the Olympics, that's what he's talking about. The other side of it is getting better bigs for up front. In some ways, that was part of the defensive weakness for the Team Canada team at FIBA last year. Sure, Zach is green. He's tall. He's really good shot blocker, but he's not totally ready. He's not totally ready. Sure, this last year for Purdue, he grew even more, and he's really, really, really is a threat to block shots. If he's out on that court, he's got a little bit of a Wemby effect, and people have to look out for where he is. And that will be very, very fruitful for this team. But we are, as I said yesterday, are not totally sure if Zach Edey will be available for Team Canada this summer, depending on who drafts him. And Rowan Barrett Sr. echoed this in his press conference, in the full press conference. He said, as soon as we find out who drafted him, I'm calling them. I'm going to call them that night, whether they answer me back. But I'm going to try and get access to that team to allow him to come and play for Canada this summer still. So Rowan very much outlining how it will go down. A team drafts Zach, and he's going to call the front office that night after the draft, and hopefully they'll get back to him soon enough and give him an answer he likes to hear. But he did concede that it's not totally up to him and Team Canada whether Zach Edey will be available for the Paris Olympics. Now, if that's the case, we've got to think about space taker-uppers. Sure, Kelly's something else. Kelly is something. He's a little slow, but he can take up space. He's savvy. He can flop. He can play dirty. He can get rebounds. He can do stuff. He has FIBA experience. He's great for that. Dwight Powell, same kind of thing. In some ways, they're kind of similar in the way they play defense. So in some ways, we do need a shot blocker. In some ways, we do need a defensive stud up front around the basket that's going to muscle people. And what Rowan Barrett Sr. was saying on Wednesday is we've got to think about the specialty matchups we're going to have to go up against. And specifically, maybe some of the bigs on USA. You know, Joel is saying he's going to play for them, which is ridiculous in all kinds of different ways. If I was a Philly fan, I'd be mad that he's going to the Olympics to play for them when he had such injury problems this past season. Anthony Davis, another player that is somebody that the Team Canada has to worry about and scheme for and get personnel to try and stop. This is why I think in some ways Khem Birch has a huge chance to make this team. Because Khem Birch is a really good defensive stopper, and he has been able to stop these kind of guys before to a degree. Khem did have to battle Embiid in some of the matchups between the Raptors and the Sixers in recent years. I'm just saying, like, if we're looking at the guys after Zach, who's the biggest guy after that? In some ways, it's Khem Birch. He's the most legitimate like center after that. I mean, Trey Lyles has got good muscle and size too. Cabangeli would be good for shot blocking. But in some ways, if we really, really want to have a true center to go up against the biggest centers in FIBA competition, like Vucevic and Valanciunas, who's not going to be there, we need somebody like Kem Birch. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if Kem's health is really, really good. He wows in training camp and he makes the team. That may make some people's heads explode. I see Iceman like Gervin on the press conference in the comments saying this whole team needs to be all NBA. And why the hell are we wasting our time with the scrubs and Melvin Ejim? Man, you have no respect for people that have put in time and come there and done what they did. In some ways, it was brought up that, Rowan Barrett Sr. said, I would invite everybody if we had the money to. He said, I'd invite 30 people, 40 people to it. And I said that before, and he actually did say that in the press conference. But there's something to do with money also. The Team Canada is on a budget, and it may cost 2 scrubs are worth less than paying, and then 4 more another NBA player or something like that. So Melvin Ejim, Trey Bell Haynes, the Scrub brothers, Kyle Alexander, those guys have been around the team. They're a big part of the team last year, and in some ways, they needed to get at least a chance to compete with the new guys. And this is what Rowan said. And I love this. This is exactly the attitude we need to have about this. He brought up his past in Team Canada program as how he had to claw and just get to the place where he got to on Team Canada. That this is how you get the best possible team to represent Canada is competition. And that these guys have to go this way. Like when he did it back when he was with Steve Nash in 2000, he had to beat a whole bunch of good Canadian basketball players to get to the top. And it shouldn't be easy, is what he said. It shouldn't be easy. And that these guys have to go through this and the hard way to earn the spot on the 12-man roster going to Paris Olympics. So that's the best way to do it. Jordi Fernandez and Rowan Barrett Sr. want you to earn it. And that means coming down there and out competing the other guys that are in that camp that you need to be the best big that gets added to the squad. We know who the guards and the wings are. There's no mystery about who's going to be the guards and the wings on Team Canada. Oh, they're bona fide. They are exactly who they are. That's SGA. Yeah, second in MVP voting this season in the NBA. That's Jamal Murray, NBA champion, Blue Arrow. As Rowan Barrett Sr. said, he's our nuclear option. I love that part. He said, and yeah, we're adding Jamal Murray this summer. And he's our nuclear option. He literally called him the nuclear option for Team Canada. He said, if things get really crazy and we need to go nuclear, we're going to get Jamal Murray out there to just go crazy offensive-wise. There you go. I love how he characterized that. He's exactly damn right. Jamal Murray can be a nuclear option in FIBA World Cup or FIBA competition at the Olympics. Yeah. So it's really about the retool. Rowan Barrett Sr. has a really good view of this. Yes, the continuity matters. Yes, the commitment matters. Yes, the guys who have been there for it before matter. Because in some ways, this is how Rowan Barrett Sr. looks at it. He calls them quads, and they're basically 4-year periods between the Olympics. And we're just about to finish a quad when we finish the Paris Olympics. And then it'll go into a new 4 years. Well, during those 4 years, there's all kinds of preliminary tournaments and different things that Canada has to do to qualify for the Olympics. And some of those tournaments happen during the NBA season where NBA guys are not available for this. So he has to dip into the Scrub brothers and Kyle Alexander and Trey Bell Haynes and Melvin Ejim because they need to be there when the other guys can't be there in important qualifying tournaments over the 4 years leading up to the Olympics. So Rowan Barrett Sr. has described it as thus, that the lead up to the Olympics is like a relay race and that different rosters have to hand off the baton to each other. And well, this last part, the Paris Olympics, is the anchor leg. It's the leg that's the last part of the race where we need the best sprinter running that thing out to beat the other sides. And that's when you amp up your powers. The whole rest of the world is retooling their rosters from FIBA World Cup last year, adding guys like the USA is doing like their crazy roster. And then even teams like Serbia are adding Jokic and stuff like that. So everybody's getting better from last summer. So we need to do the same. But where is that balance of keeping that feel and that core from last year and bringing in a higher talent on top of guys, upgrading talent in certain spots? That's what we have to see. And I have full confidence in Rowan Barrett Sr. and Jordy Fernandez to assess the talent and figure out the right balance of core from last year with new talent coming in and infusing the Team Canada team to be a may more talented team that can compete with the retooled teams that are coming to Paris Olympics. So yeah, there's the gist of that press conference. It's an amazing press conference. I highly recommend it to everybody. It's it's like watching Masai in some ways, listening to Rowan Barrett Sr. and Michael Bartlett talk about Team Canada. Very well spoken, very much covering everything, a lot of good respect in all kinds of ways, talking about different players, this and that and this. Yeah, very, very interesting press conference. If you've not watched it, I highly recommend you do. I'll put the link to the press conference in the chat right now so you can see it. Don't watch it now, but watch it later after you're done watching me. But yeah, very, very good stuff. I have a lot of confidence. In fact, these guys are going to be very much known in the history of Canada for doing this, being a part of being at the helm of the ship, steering Team Canada basketball into a very, very bright future. As Rowan Barrett Sr. said, that he sees Canada competing till 2032 with the core that they have now, and that the bright future of building young stars like Shaden Sharp and Ben Mathurin is coming, and it's going to go beyond. That he's like, look, we're not trying to just be second or third. We want to be gold. We want to be medaling every single time, and we want to win almost every single time too. So he's just saying we want to be there up at the top in basketball around the world for the time going forward now. That this is amazing. It is really true. It's a very much a good blessing and a bounty that the Team Canada has such a great pool to draw from. And that wasn't the case even like 10 years ago. This is so new, so new. And in some ways, it's really good that we have capable men at the top like Michael Bartlett and Rowan Barrett Sr. running this thing with the way that they're looking at things. In some ways, Rowan Barrett Sr. has a personal interest in this because his son's involved, but also in some ways because of his own experience on Team Canada from before. He can look at it from there. He's had a really impassioned speech to the young players on Team Canada or in the process of being at the invitee training camp that, your predecessors, people like me, I'm speaking on behalf of them. This is a serious thing. You're playing for your country. This is bigger than you. This is bigger than yourself. And you need to come there and give your absolute full effort, lay it all on the court for your country, Canada. And, there was a lot of shades of Canadian patriotism and Rowan Barrett Sr.'s speech that's not common sometimes around Canada. People don't get like that about their country in some ways up here like they do in the States. But Rowan Barrett Sr. was saying this is something we need to do for our people, our country, for Canada and Canada basketball. Beautiful, beautiful press conference. I highly recommend y'all watch it. All right, let's see. That's my spiel off the top, just going off about Rowan Barrett Sr. Some of the things he said. There may be some other things that pop into my head that I'll remember now. But I'm telling you, on the down low, this is a challenge, and RJ knows he's got to meet it. And he needs to meet it for his dad and Jordy, but also for Darko and Masai. Yeah, and he will. I believe in RJ. RJ is a very intelligent, smart young man. And in some ways, if he goes full on defensive training this summer, we may see a very different RJ Barrett as a two-way RJ Barrett, and something that nobody actually could have predicted while he was in New York, because everybody's closed-minded about exactly who RJ Barrett is and what he's capable of. There you go. There you go. That's right. Let's go, RJ. Let's go. That's right. Trevor J here first, the commissioner of fun. I love Trevor J so much. Trevor sent me this cosmic card box, and we will open it soon. But thank you, Trevor J, for all your commissioning of fun on the channel. We love you. Good morning, Raptors family. Always pray to have eyes that see the best in people, a heart that forgives the worst, and a mind that forgets the bad, and a soul that never loses faith. Wow. I love those prayers. I love those mentalities. In some ways, that's awesome. See the best in people. Yeah, everybody's got issues. Everybody's not perfect. And in some ways, you can dwell on the really bad things about people, but there's some good qualities in everybody also. And in some ways, that's a great thing to say, Trevor. I love that. A heart that forgives the worst. There you go, man. Sometimes it's so hard to forgive something that has wronged you. But man, the people that are able to turn the other cheek and forgive in their hearts, well, they don't suffer as long. In some ways, the not being able to forgive is part of what makes people suffer for so much longer than they should. If there's a tragedy and some sort of crazy thing, where there's somebody criminally wrong for doing something. Sometimes you can be very punitive and very caught up in I want to kill this guy for what he did to me. But in some ways, the most powerful thing to do is turn the other cheek and forgive them for being perfect, not for being imperfect, for being human being, and for whatever it is. It's a really tough thing. It's a really tough thing to master, and the ego will fight it. Trust me. Yeah, there you go. A mind that forgets the bad. Yeah, it's in some ways you got to remember some of the stuff just so you don't make the mistakes again. Yeah, and a soul that never loses faith. There you go. My soul never loses faith in the Toronto Raptors. That's right there. Thank you, Commissioner Jay. Naco's here. Naco the Nacho, Gerald Mayhew. Woo, buddy. That Alex Caruso trade is a fleecing. OKC got better. All right, news yesterday. There's a trade between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Chicago Bulls. Now, this was a trade that was tried to be made last year. And a lot of people are saying, why didn't OKC do this during the season? Well, it's because the Bulls had held on to Alex Caruso. And even though tons of people wanted to trade for him last season, they got all kinds of crazy offers for him. They were like, no, we're still trying to compete this year. So Jerry Reinsdorf and his group decided that he was not on the trading block and that Caruso could not be moved. A lot of people are critical of OKC. Why wouldn't you do this last year, Sam Presti? When you guys were on your run up, he could have really helped in the playoffs this year. Well, it's because Caruso was not available. And the Bulls, well, now they're throwing up their hands and saying, we got to make changes. So they just traded him for Josh Giddey. This is a weird move to me in a couple ways. I think that a lot of people are like Gerald are saying that it's a fleecing for OKC, but I don't think that's necessarily true. In some ways, Josh Giddey is weird. In some ways, he was exposed this playoffs, but he's not a bad player. He has a lot of potential and a lot of promise. I would say this. He's a more skilled player than Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso works hard. Alex Caruso is a dogged defender, but Josh Giddey has way more potential in the long term than Alex Caruso. So it's a weird move. In some ways, Sam Presti apologizing for the Gordon Hayward move and saying, oh, that was a mistake. Well, I could see this maybe being a mistake. And this is the thing that y'all aren't thinking about. Oren Weisfeld brought this up on Twitter. I'm going to give him credit for this, and I agree with him. This is not a good thing in some ways for Luguentz Dort. You know why? Because this could mean, because there's been a lot of speculation about Dort's future in Oklahoma City. Y'all can think, oh, having Dort and Caruso on the same team is great for defense. But no. Wait a second. They have the same role. And in some ways, this could signal that Luguentz is going to be out of Thunder soon. That's not a good thing for SGA and Lou because they're Canada buddies and they absolutely love each other. So go ahead, Thunder. Piss off SGA by trading Luguentz out. And because you got Caruso now. Yeah, watch where you step is what I'll say to the Thunder right now. Because in some ways, you may be having Dort out the door very, very soon. And, there's a team up north that may want to have him wear their red and black. Yeah, who knows? I'm just saying, this is something I could speculate on, Brian Windhurst a little bit, because honestly, this could actually happen. Caruso going to the Thunder could mean that Dort's on his way out at some point. Because, listen, Dort needs a big contract. And in some ways, he may not be one of those puzzle pieces that the Thunder want to invest heavily in. I mean, everybody's talking about SGA, Chet, Jalen, Williams. There's like 3 or 4 other guys that are higher on the priority list. And Lou Dort may fall through the cracks and actually be out of the Thunder soon. Watch. And that's what I would say about that knockout. So don't just say that, woo, because Josh Giddey actually could really help the Bulls in a way because Lonzo Ball's been hurt for so long. They needed ball handling and need a playmaker a little bit better. So this is an interesting trade. I'm not just going to say the Thunder won. Let's just say that. Trevor's saying JJ Redick taking the Lakers job, 4-year deal. Thank you, Trevor J. Yeah, this is hilarious. This is funny. Lakers Nation is already all over the place with it, toxic. They're already saying, okay, LeBron's got his puppet. Some people are asking, well, he's still do his podcast. I care about that more. Some people are like taking bets on how long he'll get until he gets fired. This is one of those cases. JJ Redick is on a list with people like Steve Kerr, Steve Nash, Mark Jackson, Jason Kidd, great point guards from the NBA as players who did not go and assist for anybody else in the league. This is the thing. JJ Redick has not even sat on a bench as an assistant coach for somebody. JJ Redick has never been a head coach at any level ever before. You go ahead, Lakers. Make a flashy, non-substance kind of offer on this guy. In some ways, Rob Pelinka was fawning all over Dan Hurley, but he rejected him. And in some ways, y'all were kind of like, yeah, we'll talk to you, JJ, just for fun for LeBron. But now you're going to make it serious, and now you're actually going to do it. Go ahead, Lakers. Keep spinning your wheels and doing silly stuff. Some pro people for this are saying, oh, he's going to unlock Austin Reeves. He's going to make Austin Reeves a whole other level. Okay, you guys go ahead and just think that. They're already saying they're going to surround JJ Redick with an amazing assistant coach crew to kind of help him through not knowing what the hell he's doing. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. I hope he does still do that podcast. I think that he won't last as long as Steve Nash did in Brooklyn. I'm going to tell you that right now. Yeah, I don't think he'll last as long as Steve Nash did in Brooklyn, just so you know. Yeah, Tommy Dookie is here. Good morning. Go Canada. And there's our guy, Lou Dort, right there. That's what I'm saying. Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Yeah, it sounds nice. It sounds like real cool and everything. But just understand, that's the same role. Yeah, there's our guy, SGA. And Tommy's saying, got Dylan there. Oh, let's go. I love it. Tommy is converted over to the Team Canada modes for today. I love it. Tommy, you might have to do this on a fly by nature. There may be more time with the Team Canada guys on here for part of this summer, obviously with the Olympics, but have those Raptors ready to pop their heads back in there when we need to talk Raptors on certain days too. But thank you, Tommy, for executive producing this channel from Victoria, British Columbia. That's right. Monique is here, the super fan, Monique Lawrence. Y'all know the super fan, the greatest. Monique Lawrence. She has just been one of the #1 super fans in Raptors Nation forever. That's right. Let's see what she's saying. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Again, Lex, Masai is smarter than that, Bronny. He isn't even on the top 60 in the draft. Clutch Sports. Yeah, I'm going to give Monique a 3-pointer for this one. I love that she said this. In some ways, I put a poll up. This is where membership has its privileges. I let y'all decide what my subject was going to be today in the Facebook chat. I put it up in the Facebook chat, and y'all voted, and you wanted me to talk about RJ and his dad over Masai scouting Bronny James. Because, yes, this has been spoken by Rich Paul this week, that he's trying to get Bronny's stock up for the draft. And he's saying things like, okay, we only worked him out for the Lakers and the Suns. And but there's been other people that have come and watched him and that care about him. And he said, even the brilliant Masai Ujiri has come and watched Bronny James. In some ways, he's using Masai's reputation and name recognition to help Bronny. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that Masai did come and watch Bronny, but it may not have been that serious. I mean, Rich Paul's using Masai's name to try and like build value for Bronny James. I don't know if there's any realistic chance that Masai and Bobby are actually thinking about doing the Bronny James drafting or undrafted signing. In some ways, it's like there's no guarantees at this point, actually, that LeBron will follow his son, even though he said he would. Now, can we take LeBron on his word? I would like to think so, since he's supposedly the greatest player of all time, but that may not be true. I don't know. I don't know if we can trust LeBron. What if we get Bronny and he's like, haha, I'm not coming to play with Bronny. Haha. And like everybody's like, why do we waste the spot on Bronny? You know, it's kind of a weird situation. It's a very weird situation. In some ways, this is not a good enough topic to do a whole stream on. And that's why I'm glad y'all voted the other way. But I would have done it for shock value, maybe for clickbait. A little bit of like Masai scouted Bronny, according to Rich Paul. Ooh, yeah. And I doubled down on that FU to Rich Paul and Clutch Sports with Monique. That's right. Yeah. In some ways, we don't want more Clutch around our team. We've gotten rid of most of the toxic Clutch around our team at this point. Gary Trent Jr., the only one left. And he may be gone this summer. Why do we want to bring more Clutch in? Rich Paul, you don't need to come across the border anymore, man. You go ahead and keep your clients down south. And yeah, we'll try and stay away from you and your organization, honestly. Seriously. Yeah, there you go, Monique. I love it. I'm with you once again on this one. Trevor's saying Reese with 7 double-doubles, the best rookie in franchise history yesterday. 16 points and 18 rebounds. Angel Reese. Now, this is interesting to me because when they were coming in, Caitlin Clark was the one getting all the hype. Now, of course, that LSU Iowa bow a couple of seasons ago, where they really got the prominence, the little fracas between Clark and Reese, put them in the big spotlight. In some ways, at that time, people were telling me that Angel Reese isn't that good and she doesn't deserve to be involved in this whole thing. In some ways, it's weird because in men's sports, the racial stuff has been dealt with for so long that in some ways, we understand how to handle racial issues in men's sports to a degree, not totally perfect at it at this point, but it's so new in women's sports. It's so raw and ugly and stupid right now. In some ways, people like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are being used as pawns for bullshit. Some people are using them for like being racist, and some people are very much pointing out the stuff that, like, in a woke way, saying like, look, this is about this. These are young women, they're competitors, and it doesn't matter where they're from or what they look like. So it's a weird situation. In some ways, we're going to get growth in society, in morals and things like that, because the women's side of things, this is a thing. Women don't deal with racism in some ways like men do. Some ways women are more racist than men. Seriously. And we're seeing it in the WNBA side of things right now. There's a lot of ugly white women out there. They're actually down low racist. And there's a lot of ugly white men. They're jumping on this hot button topic, trying to be racist as hell against Angel Reese. Well, I had heard from those ugly ass racist motherfuckers that she wasn't very good. And I guess they were wrong, because she's breaking rookie records and she isn't all hype. They were trying to say, oh, these girls aren't that good. Her and Caitlin Clark. No, they're good. They're good. And y'all need to stop being racist. And in some ways, listen, once again, the other thing about this is about gender roles. Women, if they're going to compete just like men, they should be allowed to emote and carry themselves like men might around the court. And that may mean more physicality. That may mean trash talking. That may mean a little bit of intimidation. And men that are threatened by women that are strong and they're doing this on the court like that, well, you need to get over yourselves and understand this. This is new era. We changed. The women aren't just barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen anymore. They're out there getting double doubles. And you can't do that, you fat slob sitting on a couch, you racist piece of shit. So how about that? So, yeah, this is what I'll say about Angel Reese right now. She is the real deal Holyfield. And everybody who tried to sell me that, oh, she shouldn't be getting attention or anything, well, you're wrong, considering how her rookie season's going so far. There you go. Tom Duke saying, we are looking for gold. Just watched a great interview with Andrew on Hello and Welcome. There you go. Andrew Bartlett is very serious. We are that good. In some ways, this is exactly what we should be doing. The bronze was great. We got on the medal podium, and we want to be on the medal podium every time. But that's what Rowan said. He wants to be 2 steps up. And that little bit of distance from that third spot to the second to the first is very, very tough. And that means getting as perfect as possible. And the area that needs perfection and a little bit more improvement is the defensive side of things for Team Canada. I agree with this. Watching the FIBA team last year at FIBA World Cup, they had lapses. They had parts where the game got out of control because they couldn't stop the other team, and they went on a scoring spree. They didn't lose much. That's the great thing. They really are very good. And if they tighten it up just a bit more and they do get a better defensive roster for this Paris Olympics, well, there you go. In some ways, thinking about the 12-player team and the 3 alternates, which there will be 3 alternates just in case injury, just in case something weird happens, like Zach can't play because of the draft. They need to have flexibility in the way that they need to think about specialty players for specialty matchups, like maybe the bigs on USA. Maybe there's another team that has somebody like Luka, and we got to think about how we're going to deal with Luka. We have to have weapons or ideas of how we can handle all the specific problems from other teams at the Olympics that can be put in front of us. Like, we don't want to get to the gold medal game against USA, and all of a sudden their bigs are just an absolute problem. In some ways, Rowan Barrett Sr. and Jordi Fernandez are thinking about this when they're at training camp right now. And they're thinking about how the hell are we going to slow down AD and Joel Embiid. And, that's what they have to think about right now. They got to think about who they're going to muscle up against them. And people like Karl Anthony Towns, if Dominican gets there, there's some bigs, NBA bigs, they're in the FIBA competition. They have to think about how they're going to handle. And that's a big part of it right there. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Monique is saying, I've been upbeat with the topics lately, Lex. Things aren't sitting with me right. that Nick Nurse interview with Draymond Green. All right, there's something that came out recently. Nick Nurse did an interview with Draymond Green. He's wearing a Philly hat instead of his little NN hat. I guess Daryl Morey told him to get rid of those. Yeah, he is what he is. Now, listen, Nick said something that he said before. This is not the first time I've heard him say this, and I knew this already. The whole statement he said about Kawhi. Basically, Nick Nurse went on Draymond Green's podcast, and he said that Kawhi came in the year he played for Toronto, and the first thing he said to Nick Nurse was, "You get me for a year. You get me for a year. I'm going to try my ass off and try and win for us, but I'm not going to be here next year." He told him that at the beginning of the whole thing, and that Nick, in the back of his mind, knew that Kawhi was probably only going to be there for 1 year rental. Now, in some ways, I got to look at that as two things. It's like, first of all, Kawhi, you're an idiot. Yeah, I'll say that. Kawhi, you're an absolute idiot. Like, how can you be so close-minded? Is it just because it was Toronto and you're like, I have to go to Toronto. There's nothing I can do about it. It's the rules of the NBA, but I don't want to really be here. You idiot. In some ways, you robbed Toronto and Canada and the Raptors of the chance to defend their title properly, and you didn't get anything good for it. The time you've spent in LA since has been an absolute dreadful failure, and you may have left the championship on the table. So you're a dumbass. I will say that right now. Kawhi Leonard, at this point, you're a dumbass. And in hindsight, 2020, you're an idiot. You should have never left Toronto. You should have let us have one more year. You could have done 1 year. You could have done one more year and just tried to defend the title with that 2020 team that was the best record team in the NBA. You told them, oh, I don't think they're good enough to repeat. Well, that was absolute horse crap. And everybody knows that. Everybody around the league knows that. And they're saying stuff like, well, OG would have been healthy. That you guys could have been better because Anunoby was playing in that next year. So whatever Nick said is not new. I heard him say this before in another interview before. It's just that we're seeing him say it in a Philly hat and more recently on an Assholes podcast, Draymond Green. But yeah, I knew about this already, that he had told Nick that he would only be here for 1 year. And well, that's what happened. Idiot. Absolute dumbass, Kawhi Leonard. You left the championship ring on the table, and maybe the NBA pushed you to do that partly because they don't want repeat champions in Toronto. Maybe that may be why. Right there, David's here. Good to see Commissioner of Trivia, David Saborin. Oops, I'll add Nick Nurse to my swear exception box too. Yeah, and Trevor's saying Nick Nurse is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Listen, Nick Nurse is just very much a competitor. He grew up with a bunch of older siblings, and they all had to fight for their toys and their food. It's like Nick got up in the morning as a normal 6-year-old. He had to fight his brothers just to feed himself because there wasn't enough for anybody in Iowa. He grew up in a poor family with a bunch of siblings, and they only had so much to go around. So he, right from the start, came up as a very needy, wanting everything kind of guy, fighting for stuff because he had to in his own damn family. That's how it is. That's just how it is. I'm telling you. All right, let's do the classic card of the day. Since trivia Commissioner David is here, so he can tell me the score for how we're going to do this. David is going to possibly be writing the trivia this year for the whole year. We're going to see. I'm going to try and help him. It's a lot of workload, David. We'll have to see. We're going to have to talk about next Tuesday and how you want to run trivia, whether you want me to help you with the questions or you're going to just straight up do the questions yourself. So we're going to figure this out, guys. It's going to be very different this season for sure. All right, so let's get the classic card out since David is checked in, and we'll see who's getting it today. All right, let me get the box. The box is absolutely full. Look at that. So many cards, and I will grab a card. The first one I get, let's see. Ooh, this one's got a weird thing on it. Oh, this is fun. This is really fun. This is a good one. This has like texture on the card. It's almost got like a rough edge around the edges of it. It's a very shiny card too. All right, let me put this up front. Whoever's got the first and last name first, and David will adjudicate who wins. He's the judge. He'll tell the points, and he'll also decide who got the answer correctly first. So spelling may matter, guys. I'm not judging this anymore. It's up to him. So he's going to tell me who won it and for how many points after we show it. So be quick. This one may be easy, just so y'all know. All right, who is that, guys? Who is that on the classic card today? That is an interesting card. It's very shiny, like I said. It looks like a Celtics jersey, doesn't it? That's right. Is that Skybox card? I think it is a Skybox. Let's see. Who do you guys think that is? These are classic cards. The trivia score goes towards your long-term thing. That's right. And I love that Seymour said that way because that is exactly right. David, you can go ahead and adjudicate on this. He's gotten it correctly. This is actually a former assistant coach, former coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. and also NBA champion with the Raptors as an assistant coach. That's right. That is Adrian Griffin Sr. And I'm glad you said senior because that matters in this case. So Seymour, very, very thorough with this one. And it's kind of cool that we got a former Raptor connection on that one. Yeah. So Seymour Pape getting the classic card of the day. Adrian Griffin Sr., not AJ Griffin. That's Adrian Griffin. Yeah, there you go. Look at it. See all around the edges? This is all like rough. Like this stuff, that's all rough. It's got some texture to it. Very interesting card today. Yeah, let's see. What's it say about him? So, David, you're gonna have to adjudicate on this. David stepped away. Watch. He probably didn't even watch the classic card or something. David, you gonna adjudicate on this, my guy? You gonna tell me how many points to give the Seymour for this? But yeah, there you go. All right, there's the Adrian Griffin card. I'll put it up now. All right, we'll see if he actually comes through and says that. I hope you didn't miss the classic card, David. All right, let's see. Dana's here. Good morning, everyone. Loving the Team Canada faces. Yeah, there they are. We got is that Rowan? You put Rowan Barrett Sr. in there. Tommy put RJ Stat in. That's pretty cool. And there's Jordy. I like the Jordy picture. There's Kelly, Zach. Hopefully Zach will be involved. There's Andrew Nebhard. We have not had Andrew Nebhard's face in the chat yet until now. That's very, very cool. There's Lou. There's RJ. There's SGA. And there's Dylan yelling, of course. And Monica's laughing at David. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Dap. Tommy Sandana, hope you are having a great day. Watching FIBA with Lex and the Raptor Freak family was so much fun last year. Paris will be even better if Rowan gets what he's aiming for. Yeah, in some ways, I'm excited. I better hone up my skills for the play-by-play and stuff like that for this summer. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I enjoyed doing the games last year. Of course, it's not a normal call. I will be crazy. I'll sing songs. I'll do little references, but I will do basketball analysis. I will call the plays. I will call the shots. I will do crazy calls like Kelly for three, or what did I say last year when Kelly Olynyk hit a three? It was hilarious. It was one of my best calls. But yeah, there will be iconic calls by the Raptor Freak calling the FIBA games at Olympics this summer. It's going to be a lot of fun. And those games will be in the afternoon. They won't be so early in the morning like the ones last summer for FIBA basketball, but they were fun, kind of fun to get up at 5 a.m. and watch those games with you guys and commentate on them like we did last year. Fiercey's here. Good to see MJ. Good morning, fam, and happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and say hello to Fiercey Salsera Jr. also. Yeah. Dana's saying at Tom, today is a good day. My son is done grade 11 at 11 a.m. this morning. Well, there's a lot of 11s in this. 11. All right, there you go. That's good stuff. Congratulations to your son, your very tall son that's probably going to play basketball. I remember you saying that your son is very tall. Let's see. Kareem's saying, I believe Wiggins was a pivotal influencer to RJ bringing to the NBA. Wiggins didn't pave the way, but created footprints for other young athletes to follow. Canada is doing right by him. Go Canada. Well, it really did come down to this. And Rowan Barrett Sr. made this very, very clear that when Wiggins is healthy and strong, he is a really, really good player. And if he's trying to get the best Canada team, he has to see where he's at. And that is in some ways up to Wiggins. If Wiggins is in a good place health-wise and he's looking really strong, well, he'll probably make the team. But if he doesn't come in there, if he half-asses it full ass, that could be a problem. So we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see how it goes. They have to earn it. And they very much, Wiggins is in that category of having to earn it because he's on the outside looking in. And to get inside, he's got to earn it by showing it this week. And I have full confidence he could, seriously, because he's that kind of level of player. But I don't know where he's at. I haven't seen him recently once again. So I can't speculate for sure if Andrew Wiggins just a slam dunk to make this team. He could not make this team. Trust me, that could happen too. I like what you're saying, though, about he's kind of like a couple of footsteps ahead of the other generation. And he was kind of like somebody that they looked up to. I think that's totally true. Just like Corey Joseph, though. Just like some of those other Canada guys that held it down for them in the last 10 years. I mean, seriously, there was not many people coming to show up for Canada of substance during the 2010s. And even Wiggins came in a little bit, but Corey Joseph was always there. Kem Birch was trying to be there all the time. And that's the tough thing right there. Trevor J saying Kings resigned Malik Monk, 4-year deal, $78 million. Yeah, that's a good housekeeping move by the Kings. Their six-man has actually been one of their most important scorers in recent years. And yeah, keep them around. That seems like a very fair deal, a very good deal for the Kings for the quality of player he is. 4 years at 78 million. That's less than 20 million a year for Malik Monk. That's a fantastic deal. I think the Kings did really well on that one. Yeah, Alan Tam, bam, son. Where's your cut and paste, Alan? We need you cut and paste. All right, Mike's here. Good to see. Logical Raptors fanatic. Project Truth always. We love Mike. Mike is one of the headiest Raptor fans out there. He really is a salary cap expert, and he also understands a lot about front office stuff. We love Mike for minutia reasons. He can go through the minutia and make sense of it for us. So, Mike, Project Truth always my guy, and always happy to see you here in the morning. You say Michael Bartlett was talking about the good stuff. Interesting stat that Canada basketball was 55% subsidies from the government, but after Sun Life sponsored, et cetera, they're at 27%. Sounds like they doubled it. That's fantastic. See, that's what I'm talking about. Mike's looking at the numbers. Mike understands this kind of stuff. And yeah, I love that. Listen, there may have been a little bit of horror story I was painting earlier this year about the funding for Team Canada going in the future. As far as, well, are they in trouble? Is there no money for this? Well, I'll bet you. Listen, this is how it is. That's why part of the reason why they have to kick some ass, because they need to make some money. They need to make some funding. They need to be attractive. They need to turn on this country to get more attention. In some ways, there are powers that be that do not want this to happen. In fact, they complained and they also apologized to the press corps that nobody's going to Paris. The very, very few Canadian media members are going to Paris personally. A lot of people are going to cover this from over here. In some ways, it's expensive to send media to the Olympics. There's so many people going there. There's not much room. So in some ways, that's part of the problem. And Michael Bartlett made it very clear that it's going to be very important that they have people and stories accessible for the media so they can tell the right stories over here so they can get the publicity and the steam put on blast. In some ways, it's crazy how so many people in this country, in Ontario, across this country, do not understand how good our men's Canadian basketball team is. And they need to wake up, and the press needs to tell them so we can get a bit more of a fervor and a following going behind it and make it a little more popular. That is what will bring the advertisers. That will bring the funding. And in some ways, there's powers out there that want to snuff it. Sportsnet and TSN don't want basketball to grow, and they know this team's going to be successful. This team is exciting to watch, and that's part of the reason why they put those games were not covered very well last summer for FIFA World Cup. So I worry about how that's going to go off this year. Hopefully, people will just find out SGA is a badass, and we have arrived as Team Canada, and there can be Canadian pride in watching basketball just like there is for hockey. I went to the cannabis store in my new neighborhood and met a nice young man named Josh, and he works at Forest Weed or something, Forest Green. It's in Pefferlaw in Ontario. And I was telling him, it's like, yeah, man, the Olympics are coming up, man. And Canada has a really good basketball team. It's going to be, Canada has a good basketball team? I didn't even know that. I was like, yeah, they do. This guy, he doesn't even know. This is a young man who's into sports, and he doesn't even know that Team Canada has a good basketball team. So that's what I'm saying. We need to start waking people up and letting them know that Canada is around to get medals in basketball going forward. And the only way is the success, the exposure to the common Canadian, and then boom, all of a sudden you've got like Raptors championship fever, except for Team Canada at the Olympics. That's what they want to ignite this summer. And the hockey powers out there, the baseball powers out there, they're going to try and snuff it out and not let it be big. So in some ways, Canada needs to go above and beyond just so they have the spotlight. And everybody's like, holy crap, I didn't realize Canada was that good at basketball. They're going to be playing U.S. in gold medal game? Seriously? That's supposed to be like hockey. It's Canada versus U.S. in hockey. Well, it's in basketball too now, guys. So go ahead and start watching Team Canada basketball too. I mean, listen, if you don't like the sport, well, you're going to love it when your own country starts winning if you're a patriot. If you want to see Canada beat the U.S., you're going to love it. So get on board and watch the journey. Don't get there too late so you don't see it. In some ways, listen and go watch the Canada games and enjoy the ride, because the ride is the fun part. They're going to get there. Watch. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Alan's saying, I heard OG's having problems with the Knicks signing a contract. Yeah, I knew this was going to happen. The Knicks aren't going to prioritize him. They're like a little toddler. They get distracted by shiny things. They have a little bit of attention deficit disorder. Yeah, OG's the reason why y'all were bona fide this year, but you won't even realize he's your number one priority this summer. You're going to go and say, oh, we want to try and lure a big guy from some other team like Joel Embiid or Donovan Mitchell or Mikal Bridges or something like that. They covet other players on other teams instead of the guy they got right now. They're going to lowball OG. They're going to lose him. And that's just how it is, Alan Tam. Bam, son. Mike's saying the debt will most likely be handled. The trend is looking good. Rowan did mention he wanted to invite every Canadian player, but Michael would have killed him. Laugh out loud. His property pillars was interesting. Yeah, wasn't that a great press conference, Mike? Man, I kind of really miss you breaking down those press conferences. I really want you to get more active with your YouTube channel again. I really value your channel a lot. And this past year without any of your content has been tough in some ways. In some ways, are you building up the want for your channel? Because you're getting it in me. Seriously. And if you did a breakdown of what they said, like on the press conference, and you just really put it out there, you probably get some good views. And I'll put you on blast for sure. And I would love to hear your insight moment by moment. I almost played the press conference right now and wanted to react to it in live, but it's too tedious. And in some ways, I worry about whether you guys can hear what they're saying and me reacting, the technicals of it. But the way you cut and slice and put your voiceovers and stuff like that's perfect for that. So in some ways, maybe, Mike, if you are interested or you have the time, I know maybe not, that's part of the reason is like you just don't have the time anymore. If you could do a chop up on that 40-minute press conference, just the highlights, the things that keyed out to you and explained it to common basketball fan in Canada or Raptors fan or Team Canada fan, that would be a really good service to Project Truth. Because, dude, you are so astute. And honestly, your work has been exemplary in the years past. And I miss it. I miss it, my guy. I do. I'm going to give Mike a dunk real quick because I'm serious. I really do appreciate Mike and his channel a lot. You got a Kelly Olynyk 41. How Canadian? How Canadian, Mike? You got 41 dunks. Kelly Olynyk 41. That's right. Let's see. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. Friday morning blessings on all of our beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Know that you are never too old to set new goals or to dream new dreams. Live by faith, not by sight. Wow. Wow, our wise men are coming in and giving us our wise words today. And Randolph, I love it. I love it, man. Know that you're never too old to set new goals. This is true. Ageism's such a weird thing. The thing we got to realize is we're living longer and longer. You know, we get more healthier. We start doing better things. Life expectancy goes longer. And ageism's weird. Of course, when you're young, you don't understand age. You may be like, oh, old people can't do this, can't do that. 40 is old. Y'all don't even know. Seriously. In some ways, once again, people are more and more capable older in their lives than ever. But there's also, health outcomes that are all different ways. But yeah, just because you may be in an older age bracket doesn't mean you shouldn't try and do something special, like go back to school or try and start a new career or start a new hobby or start a new passion. There's a lot of very famous people that did amazing things later in middle age and later in life that they didn't do earlier that they were really good at. I heard that Grandma Moses, the great prolific painter, didn't start painting until she was like 60. So I'm saying, and now she's a famous painter for all kinds of stuff. That's what I'm saying. So don't say, oh, I'm too old to start this. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And somebody told me, oh, you're in your 40s, Lex. You're too old to start a Raptors content channel. Bullshit. 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 Oh, I appreciate you, Randolph, and your words of wisdom. Fiercely saying, Knicks can say whatever they want. RJ is with and fully committed to grow. He's already so efficient offensively. Just needs to work on his free throws in defense. Yeah, free throws. It was just like a weird thing because like RJ was actually a really good free throw shooter for the Knicks. It's just when he showed up on the Raptors, he went through a weird period where he was not making his free throws right. That's not normal RJ free throw stuff that was happening when he first showed up. It really isn't. He's a much better free throw shooter than that. But it was really weird. He was so bad at free throws when he first got traded to Toronto. Yeah. Knicks fans are overanalyzing. They're like putting people under a microscope, just like the Laker Nation. And in some ways, they were going to take apart every single kind of thing that's kind of a critique of RJ. And that's part of it right there with the defensive criticism of him. I mean, in some ways, it's true. You could see him guarding a wing and they blow right by him. And he's just like, and they're like, RJ, where you can't stop people. You know, that they get into that. But well, let's see. He's going to stay in front of people. He's going to understand. He's going to work on that lateral quickness, that side to side stepping. So, yeah, that's right. He is with us, Fiercey. That's right. RJ is home, and that's where he belongs. That's right. David's saying, true, Fiercey. I've been truly amazed at how badly he shoots free throws. It's a bit shocking, but he'll come around. He's a lefty, and he has a weird, mechanic on his free throw, but it's actually pretty sound. It's just that in some ways, I think that RJ, you guys, all right, maybe I could do this. All right, let's go back in the Wayback Machine. Woo, 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 to when he got traded to the Raptors and him and Emmanuel showed up. Now, there were two things I noticed at the time that makes so much more sense right now. And one of them is what you're talking about right now, David, the missed free throws. Well, let's think about this. What do you have to do when you shoot free throws? You have to concentrate. Well, what if RJ was standing at the line and in some ways in the back of his head, his younger brother Nathan's issues were in there? And that may have been part of the reason why he was missing free throws, because it's hard to concentrate when your younger brother's sick and not doing well somewhere. You know, they kept showing our Rowan Barrett Sr. in the crowd during that period. And I'm like, why is Rowan Barrett so pissed off? Like, I'd see him in the crowd and he had just like an angry face. Like, he's mad. Well, he's mad because his younger son was fighting for his life. In some ways, that's not fair. So in hindsight, it's 2020. I can totally understand now partly why RJ Barrett was missing free throws and Rowan Barrett Sr. looked like somebody had shit on his breakfast. So, I mean, that makes total sense now, doesn't it? The younger brother, Nathan, was fighting for his life in a hospital bed for those months. That maybe RJ was missing free throws partly because of that. And maybe that's part of the reason why Rowan Barrett Sr. looks so angry. Like, he looks so mad in that crowd, when just resting, watching his RJ play, and he's just like angry. And I'm like, why is Rowan so angry? Well, we find out later. His son was not doing well and he passed away. It's really sad. Really, really sad. So I think that may be part of it. I can speculate in hindsight that may have been a part of the reason why RJ missed so many free throws when he first showed up. He's a better free throw shooter than that. He's almost an 80% free throw shooter, David, just so you know. Fiercely saying, Lex, quick thoughts on the Caruso-Giddey trade. I think the Bulls were definitely fleeced. I don't agree, and I explained it earlier, but not sure how Caruso will fit with those young OKC players. Yeah, I feel like this is a quick fix Band-Aid by this Thunder. It's like they saw some things in the playoffs. They had some promise, but then they had, oh, this is a problem. And they're like, oh, we need to get more experience with the guys. I think that you guys are actually not totally seeing the whole thing here. Once again, Caruso's an older player. Giddey's very young. Giddey is actually really good. In some ways, he's been maligned in the last year, partly for a dumb little underage scandal, partly for some deficiencies in the playoffs that were exposed this year. But otherwise, Giddey's the better player between him and Caruso. I'm telling you that right now in the long term. And that's the thing that's going to make this trade even by the end of it. Caruso may be good for them now, but like I said, he may shift the balance of the roster of the Thunder where Luguentz Dort's on the way out. So, you know, I'm just saying, I speculate about all the dominoes that fall when there's a deal that's done. That's right. Kareem saying, can you imagine Oliver Ryu and Zach Edey as Canadian centers in future Olympics paired with RJ, Murray, and SGA? I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. In some ways, look, this is a great positive distraction from Raptors rebuilding around Scotty and having a little bit of time where they may be losing a little bit more. Canada is a success. Canada's a badass. Canada's something we can get behind in men's basketball right now. And it's going to be so exciting. Oliver Ryu being listed at 7'9". It just sounds crazy to me. It's nuts. And there's not just these two guys. There's some other really tall Canadian guys coming up that are interesting prospects too. So yeah, Rowan Barrett Sr. is licking his lips as far as just the possible opportunities and possibilities for who he could put on a roster in the future is absolutely insane. I'm with you, Kareem. This is awesome. Now let's hope that Oliver Ryu is not just a big stiff and he can actually show skill with his size also. That's going to be important, but still a lob threat like that is, yeah. And you know what? You got Oliver on your team. Well, you can try and neutralize a Wemby if he's able to keep up with them. So it's very, very interesting. I love it. In some ways, it's a distraction from, well, ESPN has a new article out this morning about the overhaul tiers. How close is your favorite team to a title? It's a Tim Bontemps article, and they've put us in a category called Rebuilding Around a Star. And it's the second to the bottom. The starting at square one teams are below us, but rebuilding around the star is what they're saying about us. They're also saying it about San Antonio with Wemby, and they're also saying it about Charlotte with LaMelo Ball, which is ridiculous. But yeah, the Raptors is saying it was a season. It's the same BS they keep writing about us over and over again. But yeah, they have us in a tier called rebuilding around a star. I guess that's pretty true. And in some ways, it's not telling us we're completely out. But in some ways, it's also saying that we're kind of buried in the whole league of where we're at. But I don't agree with that. I really do feel like RJ and Emmanuel are, and with Scotty, are going to be a very powerful combination. And the NBA is not paying attention to that. Seriously, they really should, though. Let's see. Nako saying RJ's passing could be smoothed out a bit. It has improved since he's been on the Raptors. Yeah, well, with RJ being with Darko Rajakovic, passing's important if you play for Darko. That's really, really important. And the guys who do not have a proclivity to pass the ball or really kind of ball hogs, well, they may be on their way out. And that's why people like Boucher and Trent may not be on our team next year. So, RJ actually is very good at passing the ball and getting the ball around the horn really fast. So that's not a part of his game that I worry about in some ways. It really is the defense. The defense is the main focus this summer, Nako, and the challenge is from his father. Yeah, and Masai and Darko. That's right. Alan saying Caruso is blank. Giddy is 21 years old. Better. Yeah, Caruso is Cap. Is that what it is? Cap. I mean, Caruso is an amazing player for his ability. Like he gets so much out of his body and what his talent is. He's an amazing NBA player. I'm not trying to slight him or anything. You just got to understand there's a lot of talent in Giddy that is not in Caruso. Caruso's all hard work and grit and determination. In some ways, that is a talent in itself, right? But in some ways, the upside with Giddy is way higher. And that's the interesting thing for this. The Bulls are not trying to win now at this point. They're going to try and trade Zach LaVine too. And they're going to do a little bit of a rebuild at this point with younger. And that's what this signifies. In some ways, they were trying to win with Vucevic and that core with DeMar DeRozan and them, but they're getting nowhere. So in some ways, they got to do this right now. They got to do this. Yeah. David's saying maybe eventually, but not right now. There you go. David, you better adjudicate on the classic card is what I'm saying. Mike's saying the Edey draft issue was the point I was mentioning about investing in development and showing NBA teams that Team Canada will push good developmental progress with that rep. Every NBA team would be okay. Yeah, I mean but Mike, you understand the conflict here. The Summer Olympics happen during the Summer League. And in some ways, all rookies kind of go to the NBA Summer League for orientation and learning being in the NBA. It could actually hurt Zach Edey's career slightly not being at Summer League and doing the NBA stuff. And in some ways, that is the choice of the franchise that drafts him. Sure, Masai and Bobby would say, yeah, Zach, you can go to Paris with everybody because they understand. They work very closely with Rowan Barrett Sr. and know him very well, and they're friends. But there's no telling what the other 29 teams, each one, some of them may be very nice. I mean, yeah, we see a lot of good reasons to send Zach with you guys, but some of them may not. Some of them are idiots. Let's just put it that way. So I wouldn't just say all of them would say yes and let him go. And that's what Rowan understands too. He's going to call them and find out. Alan saying, I can't wait to watch USA versus Canada in the Paris Olympics. Well, we get a tester in Las Vegas. Yeah, we're going to get that friendly match in July the 11th first, Alan Tam, Bam, son. And I will be doing live broadcast during it. So if you want to hear me call the game, like I'm Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong all rolled into one, yeah, it's fun. You'll get to hear that. No, Nako saying Caruso is a vet and a dog, and Giddy was the weak link. Bulls have so many guards and didn't get a pick from a team that probably should trade picks. Yeah, I mean, we can look at this all different ways. Caruso is an overachiever that made something of himself in a league where guys like him normally don't. They don't do jack shit in the league. So in some ways, that's exemplary. His ceiling is where he's at. Josh Giddey's ceiling is way higher than where he's at right now. He's a very young player. He's going in his fourth year, and he's still learning. In some ways, he's got a height and a skill set that's similar to guys like Franz and Scotty. So that's the thing I'm saying here, Nako. Just a couple years ago, we were comparing Josh Giddey to Scotty Barnes and Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner. And now all of a sudden you're saying he's not as good as Caruso? Cool Cat saying, good morning, Rapid Free Crew. Been MIA for a few work events. Very excited from Team Canada. I know a lot of people feel bad, but it's a part of the rise in quality and quantity of players. Competition is tough. There you go. I like Cool Cat's mentality on this, and it's echoed by Rowan Barrett Sr. Like he said, he had to claw and tooth his way to the point where he got to with Team Canada himself in the past when it was his time when he was younger. And this is just how it is. Sadly, there is a point where they may say your time has passed, Corey Joseph. And it's just how it is. In some ways, it's his job to get the best possible players in that camp for Jordy Fernandez to decide who will be the best 12. And in some ways, like I've said couple times this week, Corey Joseph and Kevin Pangos are guards. And we have some of the most talented guards on our roster already bona fide going to make this team. So it's a ways to bring them in and compete for spots that just aren't going to be available. Now, the front court, there's going to be spots available, and we do need to figure out and shore up the front court defensively for Team Canada. So that is why we're heavy on forward centers coming into this invite camp. Now, if we needed guards, it was a flip. If we had a ton of really good bigs for Canada that were bona fide and just going to be in the team, and we were questionable about the guards, it'd be flipped. And Corey Joseph and Kevin Pangos would be coming to this camp. But that is why right there, we need to figure out the bigs that we're going to bring there. And in some ways, we can upgrade the bigs better than the guards. The guards are going to be upgraded by Jamal Murray and Andrew Nebhart being there. But the bigs, we need to figure it out. Can we improve on Dwight Powell? Can we improve on Zach Edey even by one of these other guys out competing and making the team? That's what I'm saying right there. Cabin Geely, O'Shea Brissett, Trey Lyles, Kem Birch. It's wide open. These guys could possibly get one of those spots, especially Kem Birch, because he's a FIBA-made player. Coach Coolcat, always happy to see you. We've missed you, and we always love when you come back and see us, and I hope you can be here more regularly. I also remember last summer, Cool Cat, you did take a little bit of a sabbatical away from the channel until the season started. So no problems at all. You're a regular Raptor Freak no matter what. You've got the 52 card pickup. Coach Cool Cat with the dunks. 52. That's right. There's my link to the press conference for Team Canada press conference from Wednesday. So if you have not seen it yet, watch it. Bam, son. All right, there's Bryce Lawson, the birthday boy, turning 23 yesterday, and he's got the Vince Carter dunk Raptor logo going. I love it. Most saying, I'm just glad you're not talking much about Wiggins, though. Laugh out loud. Chuck and Oliver Ryu, though. Wow. There's a picture that came out yesterday of Chuck Swirsky, former voice of the Raptors, current radio voice of the Bulls, standing next to 7'9" Oliver Ryu. And he looks like twice Chuck's size. Like Chuck Swirsky's probably an average size man. He's probably like 5'7", maybe 5'8". And this dude looks like he's twice his size. It's like you take two Chucks, you stack it up, and it becomes Oliver Ryu of the Florida Gators. It's crazy. It is crazy. I would be very interested to see how good this guy gets. I hope he can get some skill to his crazy frame. In some ways, that's a scary thing. Guys that are so skinny like that, well, they may just rely on their height and not work so hard. Work hard. Work very hard, Oliver. You could have a very lucrative basketball career with your crazy ass height. Yeah. Yeah. Mike is saying JJ Redick is an NBA coach. Laugh out loud. Yeah, it is what it is. In some ways, does this mean that Bronny and LeBron are going to be staying in LA? In some ways, that kind of symbolize that. Maybe Pelinka's worried about LeBron leaving. He's like, well, I'm going to hire your podcast co-host, LeBron. Okay, Rob. Doesn't mean I'm going to stay still. I was like, but seriously, I thought you would if I hired him. Is that what's going on here or something like that? David's saying maybe he will do well. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. I'm not going to believe in him, partly because I know the paths of the other people. Steve Kerr did well in his position. Jason Kidd did well in his position. Mark Jackson did not. Steve Nash did not. So there's been this, it's kind of like it could go either way. Sometimes it has to do with the environment they're already walking into. Steve Kerr walked into a very good environment in Golden State after Mark Jackson left, and he took it and went with it. Jason Kidd did not find success right away. He got the head coaching job early, and he was horrible, and he got fired. He, in fact, got traded at one point as a coach. That never happens when you get traded as a coach. So it's been a bumpy road for Jason Kidd. It hasn't been totally smooth getting to where he got to the finals this year. He's gotten better over the years. But I don't know. I don't think that JJ Redick's just a slam dunk just because he's witty on a broadcast or he does a podcast and he can talk X's and O's with LeBron. There's so much more to it. It's just like I said with Eric Curry sitting on the coach's sideline for the 905. You got to have a personality to do something. Now, he may have that personality, but in some ways also he's fighting that climb of respect in the league as far as he's going to have to get a good assistant coach that knows what he's doing on the sideline to help him. because in some ways that's going to be the part that's going to be really scary and weird for him, is he may not understand how to coach a game exactly right because he has no head coaching experience. So I'm with it. I'm with it on this. I think he's going to fail. I think he's not even going to last as long as Steve Nash did in Brooklyn. Steve Nash got like 2.5 years, right? Yeah, I think he'll get maybe 1 year or two at the most. So let's see. Fiercey saying Josh Giddey didn't play well in the playoffs, was not impressive. Yeah, well, young players are going to have their ups and downs. And in some ways, maybe that's why they felt like he's expendable. Well, in some ways, I'm going to say this. Just remember that I had this opinion about the Caruso Giddey trade, since everybody thinks that they just got fleeced, the Bulls. I don't think that's exactly right, guys. Let's see. Full Ass is just saying Q. And Fiercey saying Lou Dort, Toronto Raptors will welcome you with open arms. There you go. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you upset the team when you do stuff like this. And Caruso coming in could kind of push Dort out. And that could really hurt the franchise mentality of the Thunder. Watch. Seriously. Fiercey saying that logical. JJ as a coach is a joke, but NBA Chev raised a good point. He was solid as a shooter out of the best. That may be why the Lakers hired him as the Bulls now have more chips and are tied to lethal shooter. Wait, Celtics, not Bulls. Okay, Fiercey, you're confusing. Listen, I don't think that you hire a head coach just because he's a good shooting coach. You hire him as your shooting coach as an assistant. Yeah, this isn't what this is. Shep, that's interesting that Shep said it that way. Is he doing more on YouTube again at this point? I've been wondering about Shep because I don't see his stuff anywhere anymore, because I know he went away from YouTube for a while. And it kind of is weird because he hasn't been so prominent since that happened. I wonder. David's saying at Fiercey, I don't think coaches are allowed to shoot threes during the game. Yeah, in some ways it's like whatever. I mean, he is a good shooter, but in some ways he wasn't an all-star. In some ways he wasn't like totally a starter even. So let's see. Nako saying, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. As of right now, I don't see this as a good team building for the Bulls. Well, they need to really rebuild, start over. They need to let DeMar go. They need to let DeMar go as a free agent this summer to a team that can compete so he can try and chase a title still at his age right now. In some ways, Vucevic is stuck there. And then, if they could move Levine or even Ball, that would be good for them. But there's no way they can move these guys. They're absolute dead wood. So if I was the Bulls, I would just restart over. This core that has been here has been really, really bad and not gotten anywhere. In some ways, I know the injuries to Lonzo Ball and the weirdness of Zach LaVine have been the big issues. So I don't know. In some ways, DeMar said he wants to stay in Chicago. But if I was Chicago, I would help DeMar out and send him to a team that has a real chance to try and compete for a championship this year. So I think that they're going younger, and Josh Giddey is going to be that guy around it some ways. Let's see. David's got some faces on blast. We got Rowan and Jordy and SGA and RJ and Andrew and Kelly. And Full Ass is cussing something, or somebody got a hold of him. I think it may be a butt dial or something like that. Full Ass, can I try and read his comment? I'll be like, ZQ, this was a question. Okay. Fiercely saying, I predict JJ Redick to last 2 years. At David, I meant he will coach them how to shoot threes, although he should have been an assistant coach to do that. Lakers are a mess. Thank goodness for Masai. Yeah, in some ways, this is a desperation hire. In some ways, this is what's happened. In some ways, I'm so happy that we got a new candidate last year when we went through this process. We took our time and we found a brand new candidate to unearth, Darko Rajakovic. Meanwhile, the Wizards, they can't get nobody to interview for them that's interested in the job. They just changed the interim tag on Adam Keefe and turned him into, or Brian Keefe or whatever his name is, into their full-time head coach. Yeah, because they can't get anybody. Lakers getting rejected by Dan Hurley. That just shows, they're picking who the scraps are. And JJ Redick is that. The Cleveland team is at that position, and so is Detroit at this point. That these guys are looking for coaches that just aren't there anymore. The coaches market is dry. It's a thankless job, and a lot of people are just washed up or left behind by the new league. So in some ways, people aren't daring to get a new coach like we did with Darko and starting over and letting them build and develop as a new coach. So they just retread people like Frank Vogel and stuff like that. So it's a weird situation. The coaches pool in the NBA is very shallow at this point. And that's why teams are just turning interim tags into head coach And JJ Redick's the coach now. It's so funny. It's so funny. All right, let's see. All right, where am I with this? All right, here we go. Nako's saying, I think we re-signed Gary, but I think he's getting traded sometime next season. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Nako, I won't speculate on this too much. Gary is really kind of 50-50 with me. I could see it going either way. It really just depends on if his price is fair for Masai and Bobby. Then he can stick around. If he's going to be trying be all about that, like Freddie was last summer, then he's on his way out. He's on his way out. G saying, what if Caruso comes off the bench? Also, I think they're keeping injuries in mind. OG was injured and hurt the Knicks. Yeah, I understand, but I'm just saying, in some ways, this really kind of does, like, they're the same role in some ways. I'm telling you, in some ways, I don't know how they're going to handle this. I don't wish for any kind of success for the Thunder in some ways, other than SGA and Dort. I love them. But, they looked really strong at the beginning of the playoffs. They looked like they were going to go somewhere, but reality hit. You're a young team. You don't know what it takes to win in the playoffs. You just don't realize that. So that's part of the reason why they did this is to get Caruso, because they did realize, oh, we don't know how to win the playoffs, but Caruso does because he's a vet. So that's part of it right there. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do their depth chart, whether Caruso starts or Dort starts. I don't know. In some ways, I don't care. But I could see this being an issue because this is the thing, Kareem, you got to remember, G, that Lou gets his status in the whole hierarchy of the Thunder's organization with his position is not as valued as Chet, as SGA, as Jalen Williams, as there's other guy on there, I think, I forget, who's another guy. There's like 4 or 5 guys that are more valued than Lou gets. And he could get forgotten about and not valued, and he could walk. So in some ways, Alex Caruso being there, as much as you're saying it's insurance for just in case injuries, it could also mean, yeah, you're expendable and you can go. So yeah, Josh Giddey was that other guy. He's gone. Let's see. Mischief saying, good morning, Raptor Freaks and Lex. 7-foot center Kyle Flipowski seems to be the best passing center in the draft. What are takes on Flipowski, Lex? He makes my top 4 list for draft picks. I did scout Duke's Kyle Flipowski a couple months ago, and I saw his 3-point shooting was very excellent. I did not really notice his passing as much as you're saying. He is right around where we're picking in the 19th pick. I'm not totally against getting him because he would add some more 3-point shooting with size, and he does have some rebounding. So it's a weird thing. He's a center kind of guy, but in some ways he gives us a lot of good offensive dimensions. So I'm not against him. In fact, I might revisit him, Jay, and look at him again leading up to this week for the draft. And he may actually end up on my top 5 list for who I think they should draft. It's kind of in flux at this point. My stock is falling for Kella Ware, and maybe a guy like him might get a bump now. So there's some things about him I do like. Fiercely saying there's our Friday Freakout, the Lex rant on WNBA stereotypes. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. In some ways, race will get talked about in every corner of sports. And in some ways, women's sports, it's been kind of on the wrapped under and not as prominent or in the media. Well, it is now with the WNBA coming more into prominence. There's a lot of sexist, racist pieces of crap, white guys that are like really being toxic and crazy on social media in all kinds of crazy ways. Well, when that comes out, when them roaches come out of the darkness, well, you need to stomp them in the sunlight. And that's what I'm saying about that right there. Yeah. Cool Cat saying this entire rookie class are awesome, great players. They have all been competing since high school. The narrative is to create controversy, clicks, eyeballs, supporting all the rookies. Great b-ball. Yeah. That's great. And they say all publicity is good publicity. It doesn't matter if it's negative or bad. There's more attention. There's more eyes on it. So this whole rivalry between Clark and Reese is really healthy for the WNBA on a level that there's just more attention and more revenue coming towards the league. So, racists and sexists who think that women's sports and WNBA is stupid and shouldn't be around, you're actually helping things by your clicks and your anger and your dumbass comments that are out of pocket. Because you're actually helping traffic. Thank you. There you go. Nago said, I've been saying Flipowski is who we need. I don't think he falls to us. You don't think he falls to us at that point? Well, we're just going to have to see on the draft day in some ways. I'm going to go relook at some of the key guys. I may pick 10 guys, and I'm going to pick 5 that I think are the best out of them. I'll pick 10 that I kind of like, and I'll revisit them closer to the draft, and I'll come out with near the draft my top 5 players that I think Masai and Bobby should target. Yeah. Let's see. Seymour saying, is it true that DeMar DeRozan going on stage with Kendrick Lamar and the rest of the LA area NBA players that his pass is revoked in Toronto and his jersey retirement is now in question? I've not heard this. This sounds silly as hell. Why would he be in trouble for this? It's just because he went against Drake, and that's what happened there. Because in some ways, I don't care about that. Drake, in some ways, is persona non grata with our team. I saw the clip of Kendrick and what he said with Dr. Dre on the stage. Dr. Dre came up there and he did the A minor lyric, and the crowd said it. Yeah, in some ways, look, Drake, if you're getting cooked, you deserve it. In some ways, these are issues, bro. If you can play the game, you're going watch out. Kendrick Lamar is a badass. And in some ways, I really am with Nako at this point saying that he's burying Drake at this point. Look, just because DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry did a slam cover with Drake years ago as a face of the Six Gods, it doesn't mean he's not still friends with Drake, even though he got up on stage with his California guy, Kendrick Lamar. I would never revoke the pass for DeMar for this reason. In some ways, he still owes some more get back at us to a degree, even though DR DeRozan took some of that get back already. I would say this. I have no problem with DeMar going after Drake, and I don't revoke his Toronto pass personally for this. He should still be the first Toronto Raptor retired and in the rafters out of all in our history. DeMar DeRozan. It would go a long way. It would mean something, and it would heal a lot. In some ways, if Vince isn't going to come correct and heal things with fans like me from his exit with the Toronto Raptors, well, fuck him. I'd much rather heal things with DeMar, who's willing to heal things with us. We need to do the bigger thing for DeMar, since Vince is not going to do the bigger thing with us. And that's how I look at it right there. So, yeah, DeMar does not owe us anything. In fact, we owe him to do it for him, to show just how much we appreciate how he built up our team, and then we traded his ass right before we won the championship. So, yeah, I'm not saying this about DeMar. I won't revoke his Toronto card. Nope. And I'm sure Masai doesn't give a shit about this. Yeah, all right. And Seymour's saying, don't come at me asking for a friend. No, I personally, it doesn't bother me. This rap beef war between Kendrick Lamar and Drake is stupid, and Drake gets what he gets for being involved in it. That's right. Fiercely saying at Seymour, who would make the decision? The Raptors organization? Wow, this is a jokey comment. In some ways, this isn't real. There isn't an official Toronto card that he has to show when he comes into the city. Oh, you don't have your Toronto card, DeMar. You can't come into Pearson. Sorry. No, it's all bullshit. It's just Seymour being funny about it. And in some ways, it's a good question. But there's no official thing like this where DeMar's not allowed to come here. In fact, I want DeMar to come back to Toronto many times after he retires as a very valued alumni and see his number 10 in our rafters, the first ever Toronto Raptor jersey. That's what you do, Masai. You honor him. You felt so bad calling him from Africa at 4 a.m. to tell him he just got traded to the Spurs. Well, make it up to him. Retire his jersey first. Put that number 10 up in the Raptors, and then like 5 minutes later, put number 7 up there next to it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying right there. There you go. There you go. Boom goes the dynamite. Nako's saying DeMar got on stage with Kendrick, a mischief, and he has too many skills teams need. Yeah, there you go. All right, there's a classic card. David's saying 100 points to Seymour. All right, officially, David has adjudicated that 100 points will be given to Seymour Pape. Then we've seen the range now. We had a 50-point card. We had a 150-point card, and now we've had a 100-point card. Very good stuff, David. Thank you for your ruling. And Seymour Pape, you are now 150, and so is a Smooth Brown Man. So that's the official Raptor Freak trivia points so far this season. 150 points for Smooth, 150 points for the City Slicker. That's right. There you go. Full Ass has got a comma, and Fiercey is saying, good call, David. She's bravoing the ref. This is kind of like when Luca comes up to Bill Kennedy and says, hey, good call, Bill Kennedy. Oh, thank you, Luca. Thank you, Luca. Yeah, okay. Fiercely trying to get favor with the judge. A little brown nose in here. Just a little bit. All right, look. Kareem has butt dialed himself into a 9-month subscription with this channel. I think he didn't mean to do this, maybe, because he's been pressing buttons, and now he's become a member of the channel by pressing buttons with his butt in his phone. It's pretty funny. Fiercey's got Team Canada on blast. I love it. Carlos here. Happy Friday, freaks. Happy Friday to you, Carlo JS. Happy Friday. That's what Tom said. Fiercey's saying, I remember watching a game at 4 a.m. last summer. Damn, that was motivation on my end, and we won. Yay. Also, I muted the commentary to listen to Lex and the fam's comments. It was so much fun. Yeah, that's how you would do it. Watch Dan Schulman and Megan McPeak do theirs. You can listen to them if you want, but if you want cussing, you want crazy references, you want like really crazy insight on the basketball that's going on in the court. Yeah, I'm trained to do this. I've done it in the past professionally. So yeah, I will be doing live play-by-play for the Olympics and for all the Team Canada games this summer. And that's the way you do it. You turn down the volume and you put me up and you listen to me over it. I may be slightly delayed just because of internet travel, different ways, but hopefully you can put up with me just being slightly delayed. That's all. Tom's getting dap. I love it. And Tommy's dapping back. Kareem's saying, I'm butt texting a bunch of shit. Sorry if I text something that's complete crap. Yeah, it's a complete crap, Kareem. It's a complete crap. If you want the Lakers to win, why do we even show up? It's a complete crap. Yeah, I guess you butt dollars yourself into another membership, my guy. Carlos saying it would be so funny if we ended up with OG. Haha. Yeah, I don't think it's realistic. In fact, I think it's more realistic he might go to Philadelphia and join Nick. That's scary as hell. I do not want that. OG, do not go to the Sixers. Go to the Western Conference, bro. Go to the Western Conference, OG. They don't play good enough defense out there. You will stand out and you'll get all kinds of defensive awards if you go to the Western Conference. Just trust me on this, OG. Do not go and join Nick in Philadelphia. That's what I have to say about that. Most saying Tristan Thompson's opened up about the team Canada via Oren Weisfeld, and Chris Boucher really wanted to play. I'm glad he played in 2018. Thanks for your questions, Oren. Yeah, Tristan Thompson just made one little comment on Twitter about Corey Joseph not getting on the team. It's not even about him. He just said they're tweaking. That's all he said. They're tweaking because Corey Joseph didn't get invited. I mean, Tristan's in that cohort with Corey. They're around the same age group. So in some ways, he's feeling it. Now, he knew he didn't have a chance probably, and that's why he withdrew. Rich Paul officially announcing a while back that Tristan Thompson's not under consideration for Team Canada anymore. He's withdrawn his eligibility to be invited to the camp. Well, yeah, you probably didn't have a chance anyway. Maybe it's because you probably knew you weren't going to make it out of the competition, that the Team Canada is really, really competitive. And maybe you don't want to try hard enough, Tristan Thompson. So you go ahead. Now, Chris Boucher would have tried harder and been there if he could have been. But once again, I will tell everyone, this isn't a diss on Chris. It's just that his style of play, his body type is not conducive for FIBA basketball. In some ways, it's like, look, we need the bigs to be able to muscle bigs on the German team, the Lithuanian team, on Team USA. And Chris cannot hold paint space with his body. So he is not a forward or a center in this case. He'd have to be like a 3 in FIBA competition. And in some ways, that's just not a plausible player to be. It's nothing against Chris. We love Chris. Chris is a great Canadian. He would represent Canada very, very well if he was on the team. But as Rowan Barrett Sr. said, we need to put the best roster together to fight what we're coming up against in this Olympics coming up. And Chris, in some ways, is not going to help things. Is not going to help the whole thing where we're saying we need better defense from the team last year. Yeah, Chris won't help that. And that's part of the problem right there. That's part of the problem right there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying, on a side note, that Kendrick Lamar Drake stuff is ridiculous. It is. And Drake's an idiot. Drake is an idiot. He should have, man, in some ways, man, he needs to just go philanthropy or something like that. Just go be a saint at this point. I don't care if you lose following from your old people. Just go and start doing good in the world. Start standing for something that matters, Drake. Seriously. Like, start talking out against Galen Weston and Loblaws or something. Go start like doing what artists are supposed to do in music. Fight the power. Fight the system. Stand for something more than just your ego and you bragging about who you are and your lifestyle. Why don't you go and do something worthwhile with your life, Drake? Seriously. Instead of beefing with Kendrick and looking like a pedophile. Seriously. That's what you look like right now. Seriously. Fiercely saying at Logical, we're in withdrawals from your content. Please put one video out. I understand it's hard work. No pressure. Just showing you. Yeah, whatever you can do, Mike. If you put out one video a month, I would be happy, man. That's all. It's 1 month. You were doing one a week. And I know you got burned out. But I know also your life has changed in the last year or so. And maybe you just don't have the time. Maybe he has more work that he has to do now. Mischief's got that Team Canada on blast. I love it. See, Mischief's a member. He can put all those little faces in because he's a member of the channel. You get access to the really cool Team Canada emojis. That's right. And then you can tell me who you're talking about in shorthand. You don't have to write out Andrew Nebhart. Just put his face in there and say, this guy is going to be so good for Canada as one of the guards. And I'll say, oh, Andrew Nebhart. You don't even have to type it out. There you go. In some ways, this could be an answer for a classic card of the day. What if we get one of the faces in the emojis, and there's all of a sudden one of the cards, I show it, and it's RJ Barrett, and you guys just put RJ Barrett's little face in. It's like, will you accept that, trivia commissioner David Saborin, as an answer if that is one of the answers? Fiercey saying it, Tom, are you in Vancouver or Victoria? I'm going to Vancouver in 2 weeks. He's in Victoria, but I don't know how close that is, like as far as like driving and stuff like that. But he's in Victoria, British Columbia. Trevor saying, I put a link in the chat. Canada versus Mexico women's basketball under 18 today. Okay, so there's more women's Canada basketball under 18. They've been dominant. They've been doing really well in their tournament, and they're playing Mexico today. Thank you, Trevor J, for putting that out there. David's saying the woman who wrote Harry Potter was like 60 and homeless when she started writing those books or something. Anything is possible if you try. There you go. David's saying it's never too late, J.K. Rowling, to make an amazing book empire and then be a piece of crap as a transphobe afterwards. Yeah. Cool Cat saying when you play harder on defense, free throws get affected because legs impact, but build stamina and technique under muscle burn. I could see that. I could see that. I think, once again, I think it's a concentration thing. And what I was saying earlier may have really been a big part of why RJ was not able to lock in and shoot free throws as well when he first arrived on the Raptors. Watch next season. RJ's going to shoot free throws way better. And everybody's going to be like, why are we even worried about RJ with free throws last year? Oh, it was just a bad shooting time. That happens. In guys' careers, they have slumps at the free throw line, even if they're like an 80% free throw shooter. So I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to come back next year. He's going to make his free throws more often than not. And there won't be any of this continuing thing like, oh, RJ's so good. But man, the free throw line, that was just when he first showed up. And I really do think it had something to do with his brother. Seriously, guys. Monica's saying Claude Nembhard is going to do great things with Ontario basketball. Listen, if he can do anything like what Rowan Barrett Sr. has done with Team Canada basketball, this is awesome. I'm glad that there's new levels. And the father of Ryan and Andrew Nembhard, Claude, is in charge of Ontario basketball, and he's going to be doing stuff. I mean, this is part of what Michael Bartlett's trying to do across this country with Team Canada is to build the sport. And some of that's the infrastructure. Then putting more courts out there so that young players have more access to the sport and being able to build their skills. There is really an underwritten, like seedy, horrible anti-basketball sentiment in this country that does not want more basketball courts. There's a lot of neighborhoods where people are like, no, we don't want the courts here. Take the rims down. You know, there's a lot of racism towards basketball in some ways in pockets of Canada. And the access to facilities and ability to grow basketball in this country is helped by more stuff being built and access to everybody across the country. In some ways, there's a lot of pockets in this country where people don't have a route to do something with basketball. And that's why we're trying to get more courts built in Canada. That Lou Dort court that was just built in North Montreal is going to service a community that has been underserved for basketball facilities for so long. And it's amazing that they've had such good talent come out of it, like Lugetz, like Chris Boucher, like Prosper. And that's what I'm saying. In some ways, it's like, look, these guys were coming up there organically without any facilities. Well, just imagine the kind of players we'll get with good basketball courts across the country where players can actually start learning. So this is part of what Michael Bartlett is doing. He's trying to grow the game on the grassroots level so that he has a good field to pull from for Team Canada's in the future. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Tom Duke saying, I'm in Victoria, baby. That's right. And Mike saying, Rowan Barrett Jr. is his real name. Laugh out loud. Yeah, Rowan Barrett Jr. is RJ Barrett's name. He is Rowan Barrett Jr. And then Rowan Barrett Sr. is the one running the team. Fiercely saying, Lex, you're right. RJ's family might have been distracted. Indeed, family issues can take a toll on you and mess up your productivity. Vandershoot, Liberty Guard, was out 6 games for personal reasons. They just announced her mom passed away from cancer. Oh, my gosh. Man, she's on my fantasy team, and I didn't even know that. Yikes. I did not even know that. Yeah, she's on my team, isn't she? She's been out for a while, and I've been wondering why. And yeah, okay, crazy. I didn't even know that. I should pay closer attention to my team. That's horrible. Why didn't I know one of my WNBA players had this happen just now? I should have known that. Oh my gosh. Seymour saying, whoever gifted me, I wish you the best day, best weekend, and awesome summer health and wealth, baby. What it do, baby? What it do, Seymour Pape? Yeah, a gift from, I don't know, it was either from David or could have been Tom. No, not Tom. Maybe it was I don't know. Kareem was giving them out the other day too. So yeah, I think it was Kareem that got you. Yeah, there's the flowers and David's Dapp and Carlo and Fiercey saying Seymour, you're getting gifted because you rock at classic cards. That's right. Seymour is up and coming just like Smooth getting Adrian Griffin card today. Yeah, listen, these guys, the classic card competitors may be very much at the top of the trivia because they're getting points every day and the trivia is just once a week. So there may be some trivia top players like Amit and Fiercey, but the classic card players, because it'll be for the full year, they may be competing in some ways for the trivia at the high level too. Yeah. Thank you. I think it was Kareem who got you Seymour a couple days ago, from what I remember. Nako saying, I see us in a similar tier to Indiana and Orlando. I love that. Nako, you're getting a dunk for this. This is a really positive Raptor Freak take, and I love it. He's exactly right. I think that we are around those levels, and the rest of the NBA may disagree with me, think I'm crazy. You got a Yakapurtle 19, Nako. There you go. You also got our championship year. Yeah, I think this is not a bad comparison. Now, Indiana may be a little bit higher than us. They've done very well this past year, getting to the finals of the in-season tournament and doing very well in a playoff run too. Now, Orlando may be more accurate as far as where we're at. In some ways, the parallels between Banchero and Barnes are there. And yeah, in some ways, they may be a little bit further along, but in some ways, we may not be that far behind them. And people will find that out real soon. Carlos saying Caruso's contract is the crown jewel in that deal. Giddey is up for extension. Okay, it's a very favorable contract to the team, and they get good value out of them. There you go. G's got the team on blast for Team Canada. Good stuff. Let's go, Canada. I love it. I love it. Carlos saying, do you guys want Patrick Williams on the Raptors? Patrick Williams, former Florida State Seminole from the Bulls, is, yeah, there's been some rumors about him possibly coming to the Raptors. I want a bigger big, though. He's kind of an undersized big. He can rebound. He can do some good defensive stuff, but in some ways we want some more height and length in a player than Patrick Williams. Now, Patrick Williams is friends with Scotty, so that would help. That would fit really well if he did show up with us. David saying, I always liked him. I worry about his injury issues. Yeah, he's an interesting player, but once again, I want taller. I want longer arms. I want shot blocker. I want a very, very, very good rebounder, and that's something that the Raptors need desperately. Most saying news and notes, Raptors Northside crew are doing auditions soon, July 6th. Tell your friends, and CCYAA Celebrity Game, July the 13th, featuring Matt Bonner. The Red Rocket, former Raptor Matt Bonner, is going to be at a celebrity game. And I believe, I don't know what that game is. That's not the Jeremy Lin game, is it? And then also, yeah, we, the Northside crew, the dance crew at the Raptors games are having auditions for this upcoming year to join that crew. So if you have skills with some moves, if you could do a head spin, you could do like some popping and locking, maybe you could get on Northside crew and be at Raptors games in the show on the stage. So yeah, don't miss that opportunity. If you have talent and some sort of, so you think you can dance kind of thing, you could do it. Do it. It doesn't matter if you're 60. Get out there. David saying, which player was the classic card yesterday? Anyone? I forgot to write it down in my spreadsheet. I believe yesterday was Jason Richardson, wasn't it? It was Jason Richardson. It was that jersey card. Yeah, so we've had 3 so far. I forget what the first one was. I think it was Jason Richardson yesterday and Adrian Griffin today. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Yesterday. All right. Yeah, Jason Richardson. That's what it was. Yeah. Isaac saying, yes, Jason Richardson. Isaac Campbell holding it down in Ottawa, the nation's capital. Trevor J saying, Chev said he is back. He did a clip on Pascal resigning with Indiana. There you go. I'm glad Chev's back. It's always good to have good Raptors content makers back in the fold, positive ones that do good job, like Chev. Mo's saying, so I looked up 6 of my favorite draft picks, Kel-El, Flip, Zach, Tyler, etc. I think I'm done. I'm happy with my choices, to be honest. Okay. So her list is looking like Kel-El Ware, Kyle Flipowski, Zach Edey, and Tyler Smith right now as her top 5. Some of those are the same as mine, but it may switch around a little bit, Mo. I'm going to do more research this week when I get a chance, and it may switch around just slightly. Zach is definitely on my list, though. Zach is for sure on my list. Carlos saying, Victoria is so beautiful. Been there last year on a work trip. Yeah, that's what I've heard too. I'd like to go there myself. I was supposed to go there last summer, but the trip just didn't manifest. And right now, my life is so upside down. I got to just get things settled here. And then, I'll be able to maybe travel more next year. But this year, I've got to just stay here for the rest of the year because I've got so much to do. I was supposed to go to a wedding in August. My cousin's getting married in Manitoba, but things are just so hectic and crazy. And that Estonia trip was fantastic and absolutely needed to happen. But I really do kind of need to stay at home and get home based things kind of built and set up here now that I'm out in the country. So yeah, let's see. But I love to come to Victoria. I told Tom I want to come and visit him out there. I still do. I still do. I have a truck that's electric now. And in some ways, I might drive to Tom because I get really good mileage. Guys, I got a hybrid truck that can drive on a full tank of gas 1,000 kilometers. Yeah, I did that recently. Like I tried to see, all right, how many kilometers can I get off of one tank? I get for 100 kilometers, I get 4.4 liters burned. That's it. It's crazy. So in some ways, I could drive from Toronto to Atlanta on one tank of gas, y'all. So everything that people are saying about electric cars is bullshit. This car is badass. It's a truck, actually. It's a Ford truck, the Ford Maverick, and it is awesome. So I might actually drive the truck to Tom just for fun to do a cross country Canada trip. It'd be very fun to drive right across Canada like that. Let's see. Most saying W streams, W vibes. Keep at it always. Good times approaching. Go Raptors for life. Raptor Freak family crew strong forever and go Canada. You go too, Monique. I'm gonna give you another dunk just for being such a great spirit in our group and just a leader. We love you, Mo, so much. And we know that just 2 weeks ago, we celebrated your birthday with you in person. It was such a great day. 80 dunks from Monique right now. She's got 80 at this point. Trevor's saying, you guys vote for your favorite players, WNBA to All-Star. Oh, yeah, there's WNBA All-Star voting. Go ahead, vote in the WNBA All-Star. Let's see if we can get those vote totals up and more people interested and stuff like that. Piercy's saying, Victoria, yikes. Don't think my friend will drive me there or take me to the ferry. Yeah. Let's see. David was saying the first one was Malcolm Brogdon. That's right. Okay, so Brogdon and then Jason Richardson and now Adrian Griffin. Tom's saying Raptor Freak family meeting in Victoria someday. Listen, if I come out there, we're going to do a West Coast chapter get together with Shane Waters and Joseph Starks and all those guys that are out there with you guys. Yeah, we'll get all the West Coast people together out there if I get out there. And maybe if I drive across the country, maybe that'll be part of the fun. Maybe I can stop by and see Seymour in Calgary on my way out to Tom if I do this epic Raptor Freak summer drive. Maybe that's something I'll do next summer. Maybe there will be a point where I just get in the truck and I drive across the country and I do streams and I visit different Raptors along the way, Raptor Freaks along the way. That would be fun. I would love to do that trip. So that may very well happen, guys. Seriously, I got really good gas mileage, so why not? Why not? That's right. All right, let's see. David's saying, all right, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of excited about doing these trivia questions, fam. Lex, please send me the historical list of previous trivias when you have the chance. Thank you. I did send you that list, David, already. You have access to that spreadsheet. It's in an email in your email box, just so you know. Yes, love that idea, Tom. There you go. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe one of y'all will want to come with me on the road trip. Maybe David's like, yeah, Lex, I got time off. I'll get in the truck and drive across Canada with you, and we'll go visit all the Raptor Freaks on the way and go see Tommy and Victoria. Yeah, that'd be fun. Maybe I'll have to do an east trip too towards Ottawa and all the way out to Firebolt and Carla on the East Coast at some point. That would be a different trip, but I could do the West Coast trip for sure, especially going to see Tommy. Mischief's got my cutoff. And David's saying, I've been told. There you go. That's all good, man. It's there. Yeah. All right, guys. Tomorrow we're going to do a Saturday Share the Love Club for Garrett Temple. I want to make sure we share love for Garrett Temple before possibly he's saying hasta la vista to the Raptors organization. He's, free agency is coming up real quick. It could be there's all kinds of different outcomes for Garrett Temple this summer. And I just want to share the love for that vet and the amazing things he did on our team as a lawyer, as an advocate, as a coach, as a mentor, so many different roles that Garrett Temple filled for the Raptors this past season. And I want to show appreciation to him. So please join me tomorrow for a Saturday Share the Love Club for Garrett. That's what we're going to do tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Yeah, we're going to share the love for Garrett Temple. That's right. Yeah, David said he'd do a West Coast trip. All right, cool. You ride across the country with me in electric sunshine. All right, we could do that, man. That'd be fun. Let's see. Seymour saying Chicago's move makes no sense to many ball hogs on the roster. Ball, Giddy, DeRozan, Levine, White. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Well, they got to clear out some of those older guys like Levine and Ball. Those two guys I get rid of first, and I'd probably let DeMar go just to be nice to him. So yeah, Fiercely saying Desumu also high volume. Good luck, Bulls. Yeah, well, I don't care about how they're building their team. In some ways, I analyze that trade. I say Alex Caruso is a great player. He's already what he is. Josh Giddey has promise. That's the thing I was just trying to say. I don't know if he's a fit with them. We'll have to see. In some ways, he's kind of showing that they're throwing the white flag up on Lonzo Ball. That like, we don't expect this guy to come back and be able to walk for our team or anything like that. So in some ways, Giddey is a more of a good playmaker that can help them in certain ways. That's the thing. Giddey is a playmaker, guys. As much as he needs the ball, well, he's going to set up other guys and look out for them too at the same time. All right, let me see what else we got to do. Let's do the Instagram story. Slim Duck has got a funny clip of like a point of view when your toddler wakes up at 4 a.m. and can't comprehend why the whole house isn't awake yet. In some ways, this is Slim Duck pivoting from the joys in his life away from the disappointment of not being on Team Canada. Well, he's not on Team Canada, but he's got a beautiful child, and that's something to be happy about right there. He's got this forever best video of this grandma, and she's talking real talk in the car. She's a real talker. And then also he's got a quote of Jeremiah 29:11 that dream was planted in your heart for a reason. Chase it. Trust God that he will guide you to achieve greatness in your life. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see. Manuel Quickly has got a picture of Will Smith talking very seriously to, I'm going to guess, Martin Lawrence. Is this from Bad Boys? I don't know. Manuel's being very serious. He's got Will Smith on there. Dubber Don's working out, wearing a pink shirt. We see him in the corner nailing a three. You go, Delano, native son of Toronto. We love you. Let's see. Thad Young is really getting respect for his business acumen all over the place right now. And of course, the Young for Youth 21 Foundation is in full effect down in Memphis right now. So you go, Thad, with your great inspiration and coaching for the young generations coming up, including Mr. Thad Young Jr., who's a prospect coming up in the ranks. Let's see. Mr. New York City's got a cool shirt on blast. It looks like a caution shirt. That's a very heavy shirt that Marquise is showing. Masai posted Instagram story yesterday. Masai Ujiri speaking as a speaker at a conference, and he's saying, what's that crazy African talking about right now? Yes, when I said win in Toronto, everybody was like, what's he talking about? Yes, you remember? I love Masai. He's always speaking of his achievements, and he should, because he has achieved something really crazy. In some ways, listen, I don't know if y'all watch the show on Vice that's out on Crave right now called Who Killed WCW. It's a very interesting, I'm a big wrestling fan. You guys know that. And I'm watching it, and it's about why WCW went down the tubes. Now, one of the situations in WCW was that Turner Broadcasting and Time Warner hated wrestling. So then in some ways, they tried to cut off the pipe for funding for wrestling many times and really hurt them in different ways. But Eric Bischoff came in and he made WCW into a fight with the WWF in the Attitude Era when Nitro beat Raw 83 weeks in a row. Now, Bischoff went against his own company because they didn't want him to succeed. He came in as a renegade and he got Hulk Hogan and he made the NWO and it became a huge thing and it's a successful thing. And in some ways, Time Warner had E. Crow, and all of a sudden Diamond Dallas Page was on a Visa credit card. I'm just saying, in some ways, Eric Bischoff is just like Masai Ujiri. There's powers that are above him in MLSC that are from Bell and Rogers that hold him down, and they may not help him totally. There may be people in our own company that do not help him in his job, just like Eric Bischoff in WCW from 25 years ago. So just that's a really interesting analogy and a way of thinking about it. What happens when you're in a company and your own company doesn't want to fund you or help you or support you, just like Eric was in WCW with Time Warner and Turner Sports. So Turner Broadcasting. So yeah, that's a very interesting analogy that struck me the other day, that in some ways Eric Bischoff is to Masai Ujiri, because Masai Ujiri was supposed to get held down and Toronto was never supposed to win. Well, he was successful and he made something out of it, just like Eric Bischoff made Monday Nitro into something. So think about that comparison that I just made. It's a very interesting one, and I think it's apt to the situation. Let's see. Legacy Scotty, I'm going to start talking about them just because they're posting all kinds of crazy old Scotty clips. And these are the ones Scotty's pissed off about. And he actually asked Scotty to follow him. And Scotty's like, hell no, I'm not following you. And in some ways, he's kind of like, you're the problem, my guy. because he's got this clip of Scotty when he's very young. He's got longer hair, and he's getting into a jacuzzi. And he said, "Oh my God, Scotty does not like jacuzzis because he's getting the water. He's being over dramatic. He's like, oh, it's so hot or something like that. I don't know. In some ways, you're making Scotty look like a fool, Legacy Scotty. I know you think it's funny and it's just kind of funny clips, but he don't want this stuff coming up all the time, like mushrooms in the night. You need to stop putting him in a bad light. If you're going to be Legacy Scotty, you better build that legacy right, is what I'm saying. So stop showing all of his embarrassing clips. He doesn't like that. He wants you to make him look good. So start thinking about it when you're making your content, Legacy Scotty. That's what I got to say on that. It looks like We the North 2K has added a new player, C-Dubs 12, to the team. He looks like a big man. Let's see. Gary Trent Sr. is putting on blast. Michael Jordan played in all 82 games, 9 of his 15 seasons. And how many players of the greats have done that? Kareem, 5 of his 20 years. Kobe, only 4 years he did that. Akeem did it 4 years. Wilt did it 4 years. Larry did it 3. Tim Duncan did it 3. And LeBron has only played all 82 games in his long-ass career once. And that's Gary Trent Sr. putting on blast why Michael Jordan is the GOAT over LeBron James. There you go, right there. Miles Burns saying happy birthday to Zach Wright. He's always posting so much stuff. He's posting stuff about Loyola and winning and stuff like that. Miles Burns posts way too much in some ways. Pascal Siakam still on vacation, showing his cool stuff. Oh, Nab Bhatia's got an event coming up, guys. Just so y'all know, there's going to be the Superfan send-off, and it's going to be at Varsity Stadium at U of T on Bloor Street, not far from the ROM. It's an event. You got to pay like $26 to go to it, but it looks like SGA is going to be there and some of the other Team Canada guys. And it's basically like Nab Bhatia doing an event to get pumped up for Team Canada, a competition this summer. And he's going to have a representative from the women's team also there. And they're going to get everybody. It's a pep rally. And they're going to get all amped up. And then Nab's going to get in a jet and fly to Paris and be there for the Olympics. So that's kind of what's going on there. The Superfan send-off. Tickets start at $24. It's on July the 6th, and it will be at the University of Toronto and the Gold Ring Center. There you go. And there he is at the press conference talking about it when Michael Bartlett and Rowan Sr. were there the other day. Yeah, let's see. What else do we got? There's the Raptors physiotherapist is on the Raptors admin giving you stress breakdown techniques. And then Koloko's still celebrating his birthday from yesterday with all kinds of different pictures from people that love him. Yeah, all kinds of pictures there for Koloko. Happy birthday once again to Koloko. And let's see whose birthday it is today, guys, real quick. It is Friday. And guess what? We have 2 great birthdays today. We've got Lauren Woods, former Raptor Lauren Woods. His birthday is today. He is actually turning 46. And then we've got, listen to this, guys. It's Thad Young's birthday today, guys. Happy birthday to Thad Young Sr. He is now, let's see. He is turning 36. So Thad's turning 36 right now. I think it's 36. And Lauren Woods, his birthday also today. So happy birthday to Thad Young. It's actually his birthday today, guys. So, all right, let me see. I'll finish up these comments with you guys, and we'll get the hell out of here. I think that was, let's see. Garrett Temple, Hart. I like that. Wayne saying, good to see you still on. Just finished my exam. Draft day soon. Where's Zach at? We getting him? I hope so, Wayne. We'll have to see. We were talking more Team Canada today, but I will switch gears and do more draft stuff in the days to come for sure. Dap from David. Seymour saying, if y'all do get a Western trip, you got to go through Seatown to get to Victoria. Yeah, we'll come by and see you on the way. Yeah, if we're going to do this, it'll be a cross-country drive, Fandango. And who knows? Maybe it'd be me and David, maybe one other person. I don't know. Maybe we can get 3 of us to go. But yeah, if David will come with me and it's just the 2 of us, that'll be good too. We can go across country and check out the Raptor Freaks across the great country of Canada. It'll be very fun. Seymour saying, hit me up, Freaks region. Yeah, we will definitely come through and see you, Seymour, as we come across. And hopefully we can connect the dots and see a few people on the way. So, yeah, Mo's saying I'm officially off to Hoop Queens Sunday. There you go, Mo. She's got a ticket to the Hoop Queens event in Toronto on Sunday. You go and have fun, represent the RFF right, and let them know about us. And also, support that women's basketball in Canada like you are going to. That's right. Trevor's saying that trip to the West Coast sounds like fun. I should come and join you guys so I can see the rest of Canada. Trevor, if you want to come with us too, that'd be awesome. That's what I'm saying. I get the 2 commissioners to come with me. It'll be official commissioner Raptor Freak trip. That'd be awesome. They have the commissioners with me. I'm here with the commissioners, Seymour. Knock, knock, knock. We'll have like a really imposing knock. It's like, it's the commissioners. We're here. Oh, that would be funny. It'll be all official and stuff. All right, let me see. Is there anything else I forgot? Oh, as always, guys, check out the community tab on this channel and also in our Raptor Freak Facebook group. I've got 5-year clips from 5 years ago when we won the championship, celebrating the Raptors championship that summer. These clips are funny. They're silly. I'm playing games in the store as far as trivia games and haggling over expired goods. So if you haven't watched the Kensington Variety VIP Club show, check it out. There's another new episode out today from 5 years ago today that's absolutely hilarious. So, all right, let me see. I think that's it, guys. There you go. All right, I appreciate everybody watching me today. I got getting done just with 5 minutes to spare. My 2-hour limit has been working, guys. I really appreciate that y'all have helped me shape down my time to a manageable time. Once again, if you do not watch me live, you can watch me at 1.5 speed, and this time will go by really fast. And the Raptor Freak stream can be a daily part of your day where you're getting updated on all Raptors and Team Canada, WNBA and Toronto news every single day, 365 days a year. That's right. On Christmas, I'll sing you a Christmas carol. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and join. Seriously, membership has its privileges, and membership decided who I was going to do the stream on today. And that was appreciated by y'all filling out the poll and voting yesterday. I appreciate that. All right, everybody. Have a great Friday. Let's have a great weekend. Touch grass. Share the love tomorrow for Garrett Temple. And I'll be back at 9:30 a.m. Let's go, Team Canada. Let's go, Toronto Raptors. We're going to have a bright future for both. Very, very bright for Team Canada. And that bright future for the Raptors is still there. Trust me. It is still there. Let's go.